I spent a lot of time with dress-up games when I was growing up, which may come as a surprise to you since I tend to lean more towards a 14-year-old emo boy aesthetic in real life. But there's something so satisfying about creating an outfit so polar opposite to whatever I dress myself in. If it's pink and frilly, I'm there for it. But this didn't stop my spiral into exclusively wearing black clothes throughout my teenage years. Luckily, we've been graced with Infinity Nikki.
I'm Nikki, official stylist guild investigator.
Which is my modern day solution to the browser-based dress-up games I grew up with. The outfits are bigger and better, and you best believe that they are more glittery. I'm Cara, this is our Cozy Corner, and today we're sitting down with the game that has not only consumed hours of my life lately, but also consumed an embarrassing amount of my income, Infinity Nikki. Dress-up games seem to be on the rise at the moment. Over the last year, you've probably seen the Roblox experience of Dress to Impress pop up somewhere. If you've spent any time on the internet, it's been hard to avoid watching people desperately layer outfits and patterns to match whatever the theme is. I very quickly fell victim to this trend as well, and the amount of time I spent convincing my friends to jump on Discord so we could play together isn't something that I am proud to admit. I'm also not proud of the amount of time that I spent beefing in the chat, but I am trying to let that go. Art is subjective, but there has to be a reason that a game as straightforward as Dress to Impress quickly rose to the top of everyone's currently playing list. I like to think it's because the majority of people playing were also finding something comforting about picking up a game based on dressing up after spending a lot of time with them in the past. But of course, there is something addictive about making something so aesthetically pleasing. There's no denying that, although I wish this was a temptation I introduced to my own wardrobe. If the main reason players were swept up with Dress to Impress is this need to make things look good, it's no surprise that Infinity Nikki was received so well too. It took me a while to pick up on the hype that was building ahead of its launch, but from the moment I began my adventure in Mirrorland, I fell in love. And I definitely wasn't the only person to feel this way. My social media popped off with people sharing their outfits and offering tips for others who weren't so confident in their styling abilities. It's one of the most wholesome exchanges I've ever seen in a gaming community, but it perfectly describes the audience you'd expect from a game like Infinity Nikki. If you're yet to be introduced to the wonderful world of Infinity Nikki, then let me break it down for you. Essentially, it's an open world adventure game where the main emphasis isn't on hand-to-hand combat, but instead it's about piecing together outfits to restore harmony to the world. You literally fight through looking good in a bizarre yet highly addictive JoJo's Bizarre Adventure sequence with lots of extreme poses, except your stand is a super frilly dress that you just spent all of your money on. Not that I'm speaking from experience. While you explore Mirrorland, you forage materials to craft a variety of outfits, with a handful of the ones you unlock through the story harnessing special abilities like floating, animal grooming, or just being really good at the violin. It's a mixed bag, that's for sure, but it all makes sense when you're making your way through the story, trust me. What I love most about Infinity Nikki though is you take on the whole adventure at your own pace, exactly what you'd want from a game that sells itself on being cozy. You don't have to rush through the missions to complete the story, and even then, these quests are decently spread out across the map to let you really get a sense of exploration. And more importantly, you'll get to experience the sheer scale of the map firsthand while you travel from place to place. As I found, it's really easy to head towards the next part of your quest and get sidetracked by a minigame or have your cat companion Momo let you know that there's a Whim Star nearby. You'll need these to unlock outfit recipes, so they're always worth stopping to find. But before you know it, you're on such a mission to hunt down more, you'll find yourself halfway across the map in the opposite direction of where you were heading. I would know, as I've had to retrace my steps more times than I like to admit, having been distracted by Momo's alerts. The size of the world definitely has the potential to be overwhelming, but because of how many secrets are tucked away across each stretch of field, it really strips away the possibility of anything seeming empty or boring. With open world games, especially ones to the scale of something like Infinity Nikki, I find so much of this open space isn't worth wandering around unless you're on a desperate scrounge for materials. Luckily, there's always something to find in Nikki, or even in emptier spaces, there's at least a chest with some diamonds to spend hidden away. At the root of its gameplay though, Infinity Nikki does fall into the gacha category, which is understandably unappealing to players, and I know it's put a lot of people off from even starting to play. A gacha game refers to a game that encourages the player to use in-game currency in exchange for a random item or potentially a character depending on what you're playing. In Infinity Nikki, the gacha mechanic is used to wish for outfits, so it's by no means an essential part of the game, but there's no denying that some of the best outfits are sneakily tucked away behind this feature. You earn a lot of in-game currency to use on this mechanic, but it's still never quite enough if you're on the hunt for an entire outfit. With that said, it's hard to see Infinity Nikki as an unsustainable game, since you don't need to unlock these banner outfits in order to beat the game or perform more successfully. Sure, they're nice for your own wardrobe, and they look good in whatever snapshots you're dropping around the world, but you don't need them. I wish I had told myself this when the Bloomin' Dreams outfit was out. You could easily go through the entire game without spending a single penny, which is always the preferable outcome. As long as the game continues getting support and more areas are added in the future, I definitely see Infinity Nikki having a lifespan similar to Honkai Star Rail or Genshin Impact, which are two of the biggest titles in gacha games as it stands. So even if you don't have a fashionable bone in your body, there is something to love about Infinity Nikki. I didn't expect to put hours upon hours trying to get one single outfit, but I think this is the very beginning of my time in Mirrorland. Each time I sign in, I am desperate to see what I can conjure up from the items in my wardrobe. So do you have a favourite outfit that you've put together? If you do, please let me know, because I am in desperate need of some inspiration. Let me know in the comments, and if you'd like to join me next time in my cozy corner, be sure to subscribe to PC Gamer. That's all from me on today's episode, and I'll catch you next time, probably without a penny left to my name. I'll see ya.